dress. Welcome to So Many Receipts. I'm Flo Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon.
And we are two entertainment journos based in Sydney, Australia, who love to analyse and talk about all things reality, TV and pop culture.
Each week on Receipt Roundup, we bring you our take on what's trending.
This week on the show, the crappy baby shower on Real Housewives of Miami, the fake tears from mushroom murderer Aaron Patterson, the insanity of Denise Richards' divorce, and plot holes everywhere on And Just Like That. So, kicking off with the Real Housewives of Miami, I have to say I am loving this season of Miami.
And we finally got to meet a new addition to the cast, Stephanie Shojaee.
Yes.
Is that how we say it? Stephanie Shojaee?
Yeah, I think so. She is...
Sounds rich.
Yeah, she is PP rich, as the Countess would say, as in private plane rich. So Stephanie is tiny, but she has a really big personality. And the first time she meets Alexia, she has no problem telling her that when God takes the trash out, leave it out, referring to Todd. She is obviously coming in hot.
And I saw an interview with Marisol where she said that there has never been someone more born to be a real housewife than Stephanie, and that she's been a flawless addition to the cast, and Alexia said that as well.
Yes, I am loving her. And the main event in this ep is the baby shower that Adriana is throwing for Julia and Martina because they've adopted these two young boys. And there's this really funny moment where Adriana is talking about her friendship with Julia, and then Alexia takes the mic from her and talks about her friendship with Julia. It's all very bridesmaids, and it's hilarious. And I'm not sure why there is a competition over who is better friends with Julia of all people. So there's also this gross moment where they play a game with nappies, and apparently this game usually involves chocolate bars and chocolate, but Adriana puts her own spin on this game and fills some of the diapers with rice and beans, so this substance looks kind of chunky.
That was so appallingly stomach churning. I think Marisol got a diaper filled with Nutella and nuts. And it looked exactly like baby poo, and she ate it and she had to guess what it was, and she said something like, oh, cool, it's chocolate. I mean, excuse me while I throw up. I don't ever remember playing these stupid baby games at showers. It was all civilized scones and high tea.
Yeah, well, this revolting scenario had Lisa retching and running to the bathroom, or it might be because Lisa was overserved, because girlfriend is hammered at the baby shower, and the fight between Lisa and Larsa is still going. And I have to say, this resulted in a housewife first. When Lisa was in Canada for her dad's funeral, she sent Larsa a picture of her dead father in a coffin, saying, this is what I'm dealing with.
Yes, I don't think I've ever remembered seeing a dead body on Housewives.
There's never been a corpse.
Yes.
And Julia uses her own baby shower to stir the pot and try and find out who told Lisa what Larsa said about her and Jody at Marisol's wedding party. So Lisa, was very adamant she would not reveal her source. But of course it comes out it was Guerdy. And, Julia threw a drink over Guerdy at the wedding.
Yeah, and by the way, both Julia and Martina Navratilova have been slammed on social media for the way that they both acted towards Guerdy at Marisol's wedding. People are saying that they were even sort of acts of microaggressions.
They were so rude to Guerdy.
They were very rude.
Yeah, for no reason. So anyway, this whole discussion at the baby shower sends Lisa over the edge, and she says she buried her father less than a week ago, and now she's already back at work. Excuse me? Lisa works?
Well, she did say when she was in that Dick scene that she has 5 jobs, so she's too busy to suck anything. I don't know what the jobs are.
I have no idea. Apparently getting dressed up and hammering cocktails and creating drama is her job.
And outside of the show, Larsa has just unveiled a new boyfriend, Haitian-American basketballer Jeff Kobe, who is 6'8". Yeah. You've got to hand it to Larsa. She is consistent. Yeah. She does very much have a type, which is super, super tall. Why does she just like fitting under men's armpits?
I don't know. Well, I saw him. He went with her to watch What Happens Live when she was on the show, and they're very much in love and talking about, that they'll probably get married. So,
but that's what she said about Marcus, and now she hates his guts.
Exactly. So on to Below Deck, and finally, I thought this was a good episode of the show, and it starts out with the firing of Caio, which everyone saw coming except for Caio.
Oh, I didn't think it was a good show, but I do enjoy it when people get fired. It's one of the highlights of this series. Someone gets fired every season. Like, who's it going to be?
Yeah. Well, I was hoping that they would promote Jess, the female deckhand, but Captain Carey has secretly been calling Norma from staffing behind the scenes.
Norma.
Yeah, I love
That's just
Norma.
a producer or nobody. That's actually no one on the phone when he picks it up.
I love Norma. I'm dying to see her. And so he he already has someone lined up. So out of nowhere, this hunky Hugo from New York shows up to be the new bosun.
And Kyle also seems to be turning into a stage 5 clinger. So Solene decides she needs to do something to get the Scottish, as she calls him, to back off. So she makes out with Deccan Jess in front of everyone, and Kyle is devastated until she starts flirting with him again and creating a love triangle like ooh la la.
I know. I didn't think French people actually said ooh la la, but Solene, and I think the chef says it as well all the time.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's like when people think Aussies say the word mate all the time. Some people do, but a lot of people don't. I don't know.
Yeah, well, finally we get a jaw-droppingly awful group of guests, at least guests that make an impression, you know. So Fraser said earlier in the season on Watch What Happens Live that this season he encountered the worst guests of his entire career, and I think it might be this group.
So I found that woman screaming constantly at Rainbow about tequila was so over the top. Like, talk about getting together with producers beforehand and just agreeing to be as annoying as possible.
I just think maybe she was drunk. I think these people are just
Oh, you think
obnoxious.
it was real?
I think they're just obnoxious. But this group is a bunch of strip club owners, real classy, you know.
Well, they had porn stars, now they've got strip club owners. There's a theme.
The barrel, yeah. And so they have requested a concert on the dock with a stage, VIP area for like 7 of them, and the budget is $20,000. So, of course, all of this needs to be planned in one day. Well, luckily it's Carnival in St. Martin, so I'm not sure why would they just not want to participate in something that was already happening and have VIP seats to that instead of scraping together whatever is available at the last minute. But obviously we need these over-the-top demands and drama.
Yeah, of course. And the episode ends with Fraser and Captain Kerry going to the dock to check on the progress of the stage because there's only 7 hours until the concert. What's going to happen?
Exactly. So there is no progress. Update. Like, there's nothing there except the guy who's taking their money. But this is the kind of cliffhanger that I love. So basically it's like, can they pull this concert together, you know, pull it out of their ass? But normally I would say yes. But because this group of guests is so demanding, I actually don't think anything they do will be good enough.
And on another note, has there been any discussion at all about the Fraser Damo kiss from a few eps back? Because you watch this show more than me.
Yeah. So Fraser and his boyfriend broke up right after this kiss happened because their schedules, he's in yachting as well, and their schedules never allowed them to actually see each other.
They saw each other 4 times in 1 year or something, right?
So
5?
I think Fraser was feeling lonely and wanted to hook up. And I did see Damo on Watch What Happens Live, and Damo said he just thought this kiss makeout thing was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, they were going to break up anyway, and this just kind of, you know...
Okay, but what were they maybe saying to each other when they pass each other in the hallway and there's no cameras?
Yeah.
And do they give each other like a raised eyebrow, like, oh, yeah, we did that? Or are they pretending now they don't know each other?
No, everyone's just very casual about the whole thing. Everyone's kissing and hugging, and they're all very tactile. So, yeah.
So on to our weekly look at And Just Like That. Just a reminder, we unpack the main Carrie Aiden storyline here on Receipt Roundup, and we save all of the other bits for a special deep dive episode, which we jokingly call I Couldn't Help But Wonder, What the Hell Have They Done to This Show? And that title could not be more relevant for this week.
Yes.
So this week we're going to talk about LTW's dad dying, right?
Yes. Well, so he already died in season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
And I mean, look, last season she told Charlotte, my father died last year. But this season he's not dead, and then he does die for real from a stroke. How could the writers in charge of this character not remember that they already said this? Can they get a whiteboard?
Yeah.
Do they need me to help? It's so embarrassing.
So we will explain that on the podcast. I've done a deep dive into that whole thing. I've done some detective work. And we're also going to talk about why Charlotte is not secretly ordering Harry's adult diapers from Amazon. Plus, Miranda finally finds an apartment and Seema has to take public transportation. So let's start off the unpacking of the situationship. We start off with Aiden coming to New York because he's shipping his problem child Wyatt off to Outward Bound in Wyoming, and he has some guilt-free time to spare. So Wyatt changes his mind at the airport and decides he doesn't want to go. But let me just say, I checked, an Outward Bound wilderness excursions are around $6,000 plus the cost of a cross-country plane ticket. So it's around $7,000. And most parents would say, you're going, get your ass on that plane.
Do you think you'd get a refund or a postponement?
No, that's the whole thing.
Oh,
and it was like his idea. He wanted to go.
So it kind of holds you accountable. You've got to go. Otherwise we lose this money.
Yeah.
Ooh, yikes. And You know, these two were just fighting over how to parent him just 2 episodes ago, with Kathy wanting him to take Adderall for his ADHD, and Aiden was against it.
Yeah, so apparently Wyatt, being an absolute nightmare, has somehow driven these two, who have zero chemistry, to the point where they need to have sex to comfort each other. Plot hole alert. I mean, in what demented parenting world does this make sense? I guess maybe they trauma bonded.
So this would just not happen in real life.
Yeah.
I don't think. There's no way 2 exes, little chance of 2 exes who are completely unattracted to each other now would just fall back into bed just because their kid didn't want to go to camp. And plus, there was no mention from Aiden about how Kathy's boyfriend of 4 years, Bob, took the news, or whether, you know, she told him or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I do love a little bit of Bob, but so
Poor
Aiden,
Bob.
I know, poor Bob. When Aiden
He's
arrived,
caught up in this mess like us.
This dysfunctional family. So when Aiden arrives in New York, he seems really distracted, and he breaks a very expensive window in Carrie's antique door because he throws a pebble at it to get her attention, and then he throws a bigger rock and it shatters the glass. And you know, just like old times, he's trying to, you know, that's what he did when she lived in her apartment. But then he has to go to Pennsylvania to find a replacement the next day.
So I thought Carrie carried on like a spoilt brat about the broken window. Just replace it with a normal piece of glass. I know it was an antique piece of glass, but why let it have why let the cold air blow in for days and days while Aiden panics trying to find a replacement from the 1800s?
Yeah, so I would just say this area is full of historic houses. I am sure there is a place to source antique glass. You don't have to drive to Pennsylvania. But he comes back with a bunch of doors that aren't right.
Which has the glass in the doors.
Yeah. Even though he's a carpenter, he apparently, you know, it takes like he has to buy 3 or 4 doors. But he has this meltdown and eventually admits that he slept with Kathy after the Wyatt debacle. And Carrie thinks about this for like a minute and then says, I understand. Like, really? Because I can't figure this out for the life of me. And this whole thing has left viewers furious.
And she also says something else odd, saying, I agreed to wait for you for 5 years, but I never agreed to not sleeping with other people. And then that's when she kind of goes, so whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Now, look, at first when I heard all this, yes, I was a bit taken aback for a nanosecond. But then I thought, oh, well, I'm used to their relationship being weird, and maybe this weird conversation isn't so weird after all.
Yeah.
The show's been so traumatic, and maybe I'm just desensitized now to the normalcy. I also think this character's always felt guilty that she cheated on Aiden with Big. So maybe in her mind, she's thinking, well, I did that before, so you sleeping with Kathy is just payback. So who am I to complain?
Yeah.
Like, what about that?
Yeah, exactly. So as I've mentioned before, I've been listening to the Writers' Room podcast with the show's creator, Michael Patrick King, and the writers, because I want to figure out what the hell were they thinking. So I really needed to listen to that podcast after this week's episode. So I'm paraphrasing, but this is what they said about Carrie saying, I understand, after Aiden's cheating revelation. So this response shows Carrie is now wise, a sage, sure of herself. Our girl is grown up. This is a woman who is not overreacting. 20 years ago, she would have had a freak out and called all of the other girls to go to the diner for a debrief. SJP wants the character to reflect the maturity of this stage of life.
They're calling Carrie a sage.
I know.
I don't think she's wise at all. And that wasn't the impression I got. Like I said, I thought she was just eating humble pie as she did the same thing to Aiden.
Yes,
I think that's their motivation behind it.
Yeah, you're right. So this is the other reason they gave. When Carrie and Aiden got back together, they think the audience was waiting to see how she was going to hurt him again, but instead they want Aiden to hurt Carrie. So this comes back to the undefined rules of this situationship that I call the shituationship. They eventually ended up having sex after this whole thing and somehow being closer than ever. I can't with this show. I just want to throw things at my TV. And last week I said I felt like episode 5 was a return to form. Well, I spoke too soon. I think I jinxed it. I think the writers have finally done it. They have gone too far.
But he didn't hurt her because she's fine with it.
I know.
So that logic doesn't play out either. Oh God, I can't follow it. I am not that bitter about it yet. I'm sort of getting used to the oddness of all the characters now, to the point where strange stuff like this, when it happens now, I'm just kind of shrugging my shoulders. So I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll get you through it.
Yeah. Well, on to another hate watch, The Valley. So I actually Googled this could find out like how much do we have to endure. We have 2 more episodes to go. Please.
T minus 2 weeks and counting.
Please. Well, that's not even counting with the reunion. But anyway,
yeah. And do they usually do 3 parts?
I think it's only 2, but I don't know.
Okay, good.
But just please make it stop soon. Anyway, so they are rehashing the same arguments from the season and going around and around. It's exhausting. So this time it was Janet versus Kristen, who were fighting over Danny touching Jasmine and Melissa inappropriately when he was drunk at a Halloween party. So Danny has already apologized for this like a million times, and Jasmine and Melissa have forgiven him, and everyone has moved on.
It was, and wasn't it like a whole year before?
I know.
He's apologized 17 times already.
Exactly.
Even Melissa on the disastrous Kristen boat cruise stood up and said, no more, stop talking about it.
Exactly. So I don't understand why Janet has decided to keep beating this dead horse, and she's now taken things to the next level by referring to this incident as sexual assault. So is Janet so desperate for a storyline that she wants to lean into this argument? And like you said, even Jasmine and Melissa are telling her to shut the F up and keep their names out of her mouth.
So I actually did find this whole thing mildly interesting in that Danny briefly touched Jasmine on the leg and tapped Melissa on the butt while he was drunk in this incident that they keep talking about. Is that sexual assault? Like, it did get me thinking, and I guess it depends on your perspective. In my book, no, it's not. It's a group of friends, like, whatever. But in some other people's book, yes, it is sexual assault. And I'm not diminishing that point of view, but it just goes to show how murky this stuff has now all become. And Janet wanting to turn it into a murky issue is so tiresome. And I just saw an interview with Jesse, who thought he would be the voice of reason. Yeah. Jesse, who said that they're all annoyed as Janet and Jason never create storylines about their own issues. They only ever weigh into other people's issues. So I can understand why everyone is just so frustrated and why it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, so I was interested in this as well. So technically Danny's behavior is sexual assault, but Janet would know how damaging it would be to refer to it like that. And there was actually something even more offensive than Janet during this episode, if you can believe that. The tiny white marine themed romper that Luke wore on the boat cruise. So he was going commando. He was like a low rent Ginger John Ham with his hamaconda. It was disturbing, distracting. I never want to see Jesse explain what a moose knuckle is ever again.
That's right. I don't either. So I wanted to know more about this Janet.
Yeah.
So I went digging for the receipts. She's a stay-at-home mum now because she's got a young child. But before that, she was an executive assistant, and she's actually a former assistant for Cameron Diaz.
Yes.
She worked in Cameron's wine business, Avaline, for 2 years, and that gave her something in common with Zach, because he's also a former PA for Nicole Scherzinger from the Pussycat Dolls, but now Zach hates Janet as well. And the way that Janet got in with this whole crowd is that she was out one night and she saw Shojaee from Vanderpump Rules at a bar, and she went up to her and said, "Hey, you're that girl from Vanderpump Rules. Can I take a photo of you with you?" And that they got talking and they found out they had a lot in common. They'd both been divorced in their 20s, so they bonded over that. Slow night for Shojaee to put up with this conversation. But anyway, they became friends. And Janet started hanging out with that whole Vanderpump crowd when the show was going, which is now why on in articles and so forth, she's getting tagged with she was a Super Stalker fan.
Yes,
that just kind of like accidentally lobbed onto this crowd, which is kind of true. And then when producers asked Brittany to be the main castmate in The Valley, Britt was the one who suggested Janet and Jason be part of this show. And at first, Jason didn't want to do it because he is a lawyer and he thought it wouldn't look good professionally, but then his workplace said it was okay. I wonder if Britt's regretting this casting suggestion now.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think all of the people on this cast are so dumb. It's like Brittany was upset that she wasn't in on the planning of Kristen's surprise proposal, and she constantly brings it up in her confessionals. But what does she do? As soon as she finds out the happy news and is sworn to secrecy, she tells her deadbeat baby daddy Jax, who is a big blabbermouth, who immediately messages the infamous boys group chat before Kristen and Luke can even tell their families and real friends. Like, these people are not interesting. They're toxic and they're not entertaining.
Oh, well, it's almost over.
Yes.
So Rose and Thorne time, and of course, all of Australia this week is talking about Erin Patterson, the mushroom murderer, who was just found guilty after a 9-week trial of killing her in-laws. Channel 9 had already prepared a doco to wheel out straight after this verdict and screened Murder Down Under, Murder by Mushroom, which you can watch on 9 now.
So I thought this doco was very unsatisfying. I felt like I really didn't learn anything about her. Like, I want to hear from the husband, the pastor, the neighbors, co-workers, people who knew her growing up. Like, what's her background? Where is she from?
So I think that's all coming in other docos to come. Well, I hope so. Look, I couldn't stop watching this one, so I'm giving it a rose because I found it was an okay intro into the case if you didn't really know much about it. But firstly, I want to know, do you like mushrooms?
I have to say, this whole thing has actually turned me off mushrooms.
Oh.
And I have to say, I don't think anyone in Australia is going to be serving beef Wellington anytime soon, unless they're doing it as a joke.
Yeah, but I love mushrooms. Apparently I read that the Mushroom Association is now worried that this will put people off eating mushrooms like you, but it's not going to put me off. I will take my chances with the Woolies veg section. I mean, talk about a risk taker.
Life on the edge.
Yes.
So what I don't get, another thing was the prosecution said the jury didn't need to know why she did it, but don't you need to establish a motive?
That was strange.
Yeah, and she had previously tried to poison her husband 3 times, so they weren't able to prove this. But if this is true, why would he still eat her food? And why did he cancel coming to lunch that day? What did he say? He testified. What did he say when he testified?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe he was just so used to her being a bad cook and thinking, oh, well, I always get a bit sick from Erin's food. It's fine. It doesn't kill me. It's all right. Like,
just lose some weight. Yeah. So I want to know also, how did she think she was going to get away with this? So when she found out her husband wasn't coming to lunch that day, why would she still go ahead with poisoning everyone else?
Because she made the Wellingtons and thought, I've come this far. I'm not throwing it in the bin.
A lot of effort.
I dehydrated these mushrooms. Like, I'm going all in. I'm all in with this plan.
Yeah. So apparently when he did testify, her husband, he said that she was really smart and witty. Really? So they've actually found her internet search history. Do not search for things on your home computer, people, because they will find you. So she had looked up a website about mushrooms and found 2 areas near their house where they grew these poison mushrooms, which she later visited, and her phone pinged, placing her there. Plus, she was spotted at the local tip, apparently destroying the plates right after the lunch. She's not very good at covering her tracks.
No, not at all. One really interesting thing, they show Erin crying in the doco in an interview, except she's not really crying. It's all an act with fake tears, but there are no actual tears. And it's a long segment. It goes on for 2 minutes. It would be hard to fake cry for that long, but she does. And I went back and I watched the footage again. There is no liquid coming out of her eyes. I can confirm it. So this was an interview she did when a current affair surprised her at home after she was charged. And she actually spoke at length, saying she was innocent. Her in-laws were some of the nicest people I've ever met. I mean, lie, because it's revealed she had a beef with them, pardon the pun, and that she actually hated them. And everyone's thinking, well, maybe that was her motive for killing them, right?
Well, it's also since emerged that Patterson is unpopular in jail, where tensions with other inmates led to a complaint that she'd tampered with inmates' food. She was placed in isolation for up to 22 hours a day while it was investigated, but no further action was taken.
And she was also fired from an air traffic control job for lying about her hours and was described as a habitual liar. Former colleagues called her Crazy Erin and Scudder the Nutter, because Scudder was her maiden name back then. She was caught clocking off early on camera, yet reportedly still attracted romantic interest from several male staff who were said to be smitten with her. WTF. Apparently, she was good at getting men wrapped around her finger, which makes me think, I wonder what these guys looked like. Like, who on earth were they, and what on earth was Erin's attraction?
I don't understand this at all. Like, she's some kind of femme fatale, but so she inherited a lot of money from...
Femme fatale is Kim Basinger, basically.
Exactly.
I mean, this is another category.
Yeah. Well, so they said that she had inherited a lot of money from her mother. So that's so often a motive in these types of crimes, like trying to cash in on an insurance policy. But if her ex's family were that annoying, why not just move away? You're loaded.
Yeah, and then she wasn't killing them for money because they were all old and there was no life insurance policies and they wouldn't have any money. So, I mean, I think she just really hated them. Is that it? Was that it? She just hated them?
I guess.
God. And they actually also aired a special extended episodes of the morning TV shows when the verdict was delivered. There were special bulletins. It was like 5 articles deep into every single website. I mean, this news stopped the nation, like the Melbourne Cup. It stopped the nation.
Yeah. So there are so many other Aaron Patterson shows in the works as well, like more docos, a drama series, plus books, podcasts. And I'm sure someone is going to buy the rights and make this into a movie. So.
Yeah, I wonder who would play her as an actress.
Like Melissa McCarthy or something. I was just
yes, maybe. Like she would probably do a good Aussie accent, right?
Yeah. So on to my thorn for this week. Bravo, effing bravo, as Denise Richards once said. Well, Denise is now getting a divorce. So her husband, Aaron Fippers, filed for divorce on Monday, July 7th in Los Angeles after nearly 7 years of marriage. So he listed Friday, July 4th as their separation date and cited irreconcilable differences. So if they separated on Friday, 4th of July, it was a long weekend. How could he have everything ready to file on that Monday? The receipts aren't receipting.
He wanted to get out of there. He was all planned.
He was super organized.
He had the filing cabinet all ready. I am actually super shocked at this. We just saw them playing Happy Families together in Denise Richards and her Wild Things on Hey You, and there was never a single crack of a cross word. They all seem so solid.
Yeah, I think this one's going to get messy. He's requesting that the court grant him spousal support, and he claims he hasn't earned any money since he shut down his wellness company last year. So these two married in September 2018. The wedding was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They have several businesses together, including Denise's OnlyFans account. And Denise adopted her special needs daughter Eloise in 2011, and she once said that Aaron was in the process of adopting her. But obviously that didn't actually happen because the filing said that they had no children together.
And she just said back in an episode of Wild Things in March, even if we hate each other, I'm not effing going to get divorced.
Yeah, so strangely...
What happened to that?
Yeah, strangely, there's no word on whether or not they have a prenup, but there were some truly insane financial costs revealed in Aaron's filing. He said that Denise makes $250,000 a month from OnlyFans. So Denise had previously claimed that she made $2 million per month.
Oh, we are so in the wrong job.
I know. We need to do feet pictures or something. So their joint expenses are $105,000 a month, and he listed some of the crazy expenses, like $18,000 on rent, $10,000 on groceries, $15,000 on eating out, and $5,000 on laundry.
Well, he did say that on average they were also spending $20,000 a month on new clothes.
Yeah.
Like maybe they were just wearing them once and then just sending them to the cleaner.
I don't get it.
Is that the laundry bill?
Well, Denise also explained their confusing living situation on Wild Things. So she owns this Malibu beach house, but Aaron's mom, dad, and brother were living there. So they were going to stay for a few months, but she said that they had been there for over 3 years.
See, that is grounds for divorce. Having your in-laws stay in one of your homes rent-free for 3 years. I mean, what was it, a free Airbnb? That's how they treated it. I mean, yikes.
I agree. So because Aaron's mom and dad and brother were living in their Malibu beach house, Denise moved her family into a rented townhouse for more space. Then they ended up renting 2 additional townhouses in the same complex. So they have 3 townhouses in total. So one's an office, one's a studio, and one is for her daughters, Lola and Eloise, to live in. And she said that her and Aaron sleep in the studio. So that's where the $18,000 per month in rent goes, like $6,000 for each townhouse.
Yeah, and she's got a lot of animals, right? Doesn't she have like 3 golden retrievers? Do they all have their own houses too?
Yeah, well,
They're big dogs.
She's always had a lot of pets. And so, but in yet another twist, Aaron is involved in 2 separate lawsuits.
Oh.
He's being sued for fraud by a man on behalf of his wife for failed cancer treatment.
Oh.
So his wife died, because Aaron said he could cure her, and he wants the $126,000 they paid for her treatment. And then there's a separate lawsuit involving a business loan for over $200,000 that he defaulted on. And Denise was dragged into this drama earlier this year after the creditor asked the court for permission to go after her wages for Aaron's debt. So do you remember how vague he always seemed on The Real Housewives about what he did?
Yeah, and like the women were always trying to figure out what he did. And he said something about the electromagnetic spectrum and frequency.
Yes.
So what he does is he runs a frequency wellness center, which treated this poor woman.
Yeah.
Like, what on earth is that? It does sound so shonky. I mean, it's like, I'm waiting for someone to ask if he also controls the Wi-Fi in the air.
And when he was trying to explain this to the women, Denise shushed him and she's like, we already have people following us. I mean, it was weird. So Some people are saying that maybe he did this to protect her assets because he's in financial trouble, like kind of what we thought might be going on with Alexia and Todd on Real Housewives of Miami a few weeks ago. But Denise hasn't spoken publicly about the divorce filing, but I think this one's going to get interesting.
Very interesting. And this week I am giving out a second rose, which really isn't like me at all, for a new reality series that just started on Hayu called The McBee Dynasty, which I found quite interesting and juicy, but you do have to make it through the first half of the first step before it gets good. And I know, Shell, you said you zoned out after 5 minutes. And I was going to as well. But I stuck with it, and it did actually become more and more interesting. This is the second season of this show. The first few episodes have dropped. So the McBees are a farming family in Missouri who are wealthy. They own farms, production facilities, businesses, all sorts of things. And they face all sorts of financial and personal challenges running this company. So there's brothers Stephen Jr., Jesse, Braden and Cole and their partners, and the family patriarch Stephen Sr., who's divorced from their mum, Christy.
So I actually did go back and watch the first episode.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was watching it and it's like, their farm is in northwest Missouri in a town called Gallatin. And I'm thinking, where the hell is this town? Because I actually, believe it or not, I did not come from money. I come from a flyover state. I come from, like Iowa and Missouri. I went to uni an hour from Gallatin.
I thought you went to uni in Kansas.
No.
Or Iowa. You've never said Missouri to me.
Yeah,
it's like your dirty secret.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Northwest Missouri State University.
Oh.
And when I say that, people are like, Northwestern? And I'm like, yes, because that's where Meghan Markle went.
Yeah, that's like a big 8 or something,
yes.
Northwestern. But you didn't go to a big 8.
Oh, God, no.
Small 8.
I went to like a nothing. So this town, Gallatin, is 1,800 people. The town that I went to uni in is, 10,000 people. It's like, these are tiny, tiny towns.
Oh, okay. So do you know these people?
No.
Had you ever seen them in the coffee shop 30 years ago?
But if I would have stayed, in that, I hadn't moved to Australia, I might be part of the McBee dynasty.
Yeah, I can see
or dynasty.
Being a farmer's wife.
Yes.
No, I can't actually.
No, hell no.
Everything mainly seems to be run by Stephen Jr. and his stunning blonde girlfriend, Calla, and she's often at the heart of all the drama with other women.
So I actually looked up this Calla and Stephen or whatever. So he actually starred on Joe Millionaire for Richer or Poor a few years ago, and Calla is the girl he met on the show.
Oh, right, because I was thinking, how does someone stuck in this one-horse town get someone so stunning and Instagram worthy?
Yeah,
that's where they met. That makes so much sense. So he's no stranger to reality TV. And in this first step, we see squabbling within the family, but the really jaw-dropping stuff happens halfway through. It's revealed that Galina, their Russian office manager, who last season was dating Stephen Sr., the dad, is no longer dating him. And in fact, her best friend, another Russian woman called Masha, actually stole Stephen Sr. away from her and started having an affair with him. And now those two, Masha and Stephen, on the show are a couple. So you can imagine how nasty this is going to get as the season progresses. 2 Russian women at war. We're shown a teaser at the end of the first step of Galina in jail and a smashed car window and lots of screaming. See, this is the kind of thing that would have been interesting on Farmer Wants a Wife, instead of the farmer black tie ball on the side of the Sydney Maritime Museum and milking the cows. I mean, this is great stuff, right?
So I want to know how 2 Russian women even end up in rural Missouri in the first place. This is what we need to get to the bottom of.
Well, if you lived there, like what would be the attraction?
Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah.
Who sponsored them?
I wonder, I'm guessing it's some online like sugardaddy.com thing.
Probably. And just like Farmer, the drama is even more interesting off screen than on screen, with Stephen Sr. pleading guilty in a multi-million-dollar crop insurance fraud case after the season was taped. He will be sentenced on September the 9th and is facing up to 30 years in federal prison without parole. He also admitted to committing additional fraud in 2019 and 2020. And surprise, surprise, Masha in real life is no longer with him. She's smart. She's not going to hang around for some jailbird.
Yeah, there's no money.
Yeah.
So my rose for this week goes to another doco in the Trainwreck series on Netflix, which I'm actually really enjoying. So these Trainwreck docos, they're under an hour. They're about real life events and they're really interesting. And a few weeks ago, we covered the Poop Cruise. And in the latest ep, it's about cult fashion brand American Apparel. So I love documentaries about fashion brands gone wrong, like Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie & Fitch, Brandy Melville, etc.
There's been so many.
I know, but you don't have to be into fashion to enjoy this. So they all usually involve like some egomaniac in charge who rises to great heights and then has this dramatic fall from grace. So just in case you're not familiar with American Apparel, it was this iconic clothing brand popular in the 2000s. And the models were these indie type girls wearing athleisure basics and basically softcore porn type ads. And these ads and billboards were everywhere. And the brand also played up the fact that everything was made in America and sweatshop free.
So did we have this in Australia, this brand?
I swear to God, there was one on Oxford Street.
Oh, there was. All right. I don't remember. I mean, I have to say all the clothes looked very plain, just basic block color T-shirts you could get anywhere. But they explained that one of the selling points was the fact that you could rip them up and customize them as your own. It's quite clever marketing because I can't imagine many people would do that.
Yeah. Well, one of the people they interviewed was this guy called Johnny Makeup, and he is freaking hilarious. And
I love that, Johnny Makeup.
Yes. And so to get a job there, basically you just had to look the part. And the interview was more of a vibe check than a CV check. And the cult's leader was Dove Charney, and he was a super charismatic guy, but he was also totally delulu. Like, he never sleeps, and he was like expected the staff to be available at any hour of the day. And one guy said he worked 120 hours a week. Like, I had to actually use my calculator. I'm like, it was like, so basically 6 hours out of the day he wasn't working. But anyway, Dove screams in their faces and regularly abuses them. And he also freely admitted that he slept with employees. And so these girls became known as Dove girls. And he regularly walked around the office in his underwear as well. Yeah,
so it really was more like a cult than a business. And this guy scared me. I mean, God, he was like the ultimate scary, screaming boss. I don't know how you can just scream at people and call them names and then expect that will improve their workplace performance. We've actually been used to seeing this on TV, I was thinking, with Gordon Ramsay in Hell's Kitchen for many years. So Gordon became famous 25 years ago with the doco-series Boiling Point, where it also filmed him screaming at young apprentices in his kitchen. It was a fly-on-the-wall thing. And Gordon has always explained that he feels screaming at people will make them perform better because they'll be afraid and fear will motivate them.
Yeah.
But I just don't think nowadays that flies. You do that and people, particularly young people, are just out the door. I mean, all you do is lose staff.
Yeah, so there's no way that management style would work now with all of the fragile snowflakes.
Yes.
There's no way. So employees at American Apparel, they had to sign these mediation agreements, which meant that they couldn't sue the company or speak badly about it. And even with these agreements in place, sexual misconduct allegations started to pile up. And Dove eventually ended up driving the company into the ground because he continued to open stores around the globe during the global recession. And the board finally fired him in 2014, and the company filed for bankruptcy the following year. But you think, after all this scandal, this guy would just disappear. But no, he started another company called Los Angeles Apparel in 2016. But then, shocker, he went on to work with Kanye West's clothing brand Yeezy. Disgusting.
I would think maybe they might have clashed. Like, they're two alphas, right?
Yeah.
Two megalomaniacs. I'm not sure he's working with Kanye now. I looked up his LinkedIn and it just says that he's been the senior partner at LA Apparel for the last 9 years. Anyway, it is an interesting doco, so consider checking it out. So that is it for this week. Thanks for listening. I'm Fleur Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon.
Join us next week for So Many Receipts.